Coming up this Saturday, May 11th, with little to no promotion, we're seeing Lomachenko is going to take on Kambosos for the IBF lightweight title. The fight will be in Australia, and Kambosos is looking to upset the party for Lomachenko. Let's talk about this fight. On Saturday, May 11th, two lightweight titles will be on the line. The IBF World Lightweight title, which is vacant, and George Kambosos' one IBO lightweight title, as they come together for this Clash of Titans in Australia. These two men have had their time at the top of the division at different intervals being world champion. And so now with Devin Haney, former undisputed champ and conqueror over George Kambosos, has moved on up to the junior welterweight division, and these men are left to fight for the titles being scrambled and left behind. The sentiment is growing that Vasyl Lomachenko, who's now 36 years old, is the favorite to win in this match. But I'm going to say something. Being 36 and 6 years younger than he is Kambosos Jr., who has a 2.5-inch reach advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage and a 2.5-inch height advantage. This is going to be an interesting spectacle. And neither guy in their bouts do a serious amount of damage as far as getting the opponent out of there. So this is going to be an interesting battle of will and skill. Now, Kambosos, who became a world champion after defeating Teofimo Lopez in November of 2021, has seen himself lose those titles, but he lost them in back-to-back matches with Devin Haney, a far superior boxer and a fighter who is of the youth movement, and that's fine. But Kambosos is still not a scratch. It's just that we didn't know much about him until he faced Teofimo. In the case of Vasyl, he's the one that lost his titles to Teofimo back in October of 2020. And Teofimo did not elect to give him a rematch, opting instead to face George Kambosos. But that's where things get very interesting, because George, in his fight with Teo, was able to score easy with shots as Teo came after him with disrespect and found himself on the canvas in round 1. George, who fought that fight and found himself down in round 10, was ahead enough on the judges' scorecards to win by scores of 115 to 112, 115 to 111, and 113 to 114 for a split decision victory. T.O. disappeared off the scene after that, opting, like I said, not to fight him in a rematch as well. But Vasil, whom has had favor in the sport, going all the way back to his second pro fight where they let him fight for a world title after being such a dominant fighter in the amateurs with 2 Olympic gold medals, he has always had the favor of promoters and the sanctioning bodies. He has found himself right back in title contention without having to get in any sort of line. So in this fight, we're going to see him take on Kambosos, which is really a fight that should be made because these two, again, were the last 2 titleists prior to Devin Haney becoming undisputed. The only name missing out of that mix is Teofimo Lopez. But I do believe that these 2 men, once they face one another, they're going to bring out the best in each other. Vasil Lomachenko happens to be a southpaw and has had many nicknames such as the Matrix, and he's been this kind of a fighter who throws punches from angles and boxes in a position where the opponents are confused to try to find him. George is a straight-up in-your-face fighter. Though he doesn't have a lot of power, he fights with strength and conviction. He has a strong will, and sometimes I do believe he fights off of emotion. And in this case, because he's fighting at home, that emotion from the crowd that he will draw upon may make him really compete with the elder statesman Lomachenko in a manner that Lomachenko may not be prepared for. It's been a long time since Lomo has fought somewhere like in the likes of Australia, and we wonder if his focus will be there. I'm quite certain that these 2 have offsetting styles and that someone is going to prevail, and the favor goes toward Vasil Lomachenko. But don't rule out the combativeness of George Kambosos Jr. I could see him coming in to do some things and really take advantage of being overlooked or a guy that's been dismissed. Even in his fights against Devin Haney, he showed a lot of moxie and guts. He just wasn't the boxer that Haney was. And Vasil is a decade older than Haney. Sooner or later, there will be chinks in the armor of Vasil Lomachenko. And this could be an opportunity for George Kambosos to exploit that and do it in front of his home people and do it where he has certain advantages and favor. All in all, I expect this fight to be competitive. I do see Vasil edging it out, but I don't count out George Kambosos because stranger things have happened. And at the end of the day, it's another quality boxing match between fighters that are competing at the highest level of the sport with the names that have been circulating around the championship. Eventually, these men will have faced one another. If T.O. decides to face a guy in a rematch, it will be an opportunity for some great things because they will have had a round robin. If he fights Loma in a rematch, the same can be said. But nonetheless, Vasil Lomachenko is always going to be the one who has had the favor over all of these guys. Bob Arum loves him as if he's his stepson, and the sanctioning body loves him as well. But will Kambosos show love or disdain for Vasil Lomachenko? That remains to be seen on Saturday, May 11th. And I'm hoping that they go in there and show the sport what boxing needs. Another shot in the arm by quality fighters in the lower weight classes that can compete on a high level. and give us something of testicular fortitude going in. All in all, this shapes up to be a decent fight between two former world champions, and we'll find out who has enough left to become champion again, and an opportunity for the winner to move forward and seek out undisputed. I think the cards are setting up for Vasil. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know who you've got, Kambosos or Lomachenko. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.